So welcome and thanks for joining us today. We're really excited and we're really nervous about running our first ever webinar. We are recording this session, so I kind of will do a little introduction just so that if people are watching this and they don't know who we are, they know who we are. So I'm Anna Marshall. I'm the founder of People Mastery, and I love working with intact teams. So teams are one of our favorite things to do, and I've been working in a virtual team for 7 years now. So we just really wanted to share a little bit of inspiration and maybe some ideas to get you started as you kind of make this transition. So I've also got my partner in crime, the lovely Jennifer, with me today. She's going to be my kind of co-conspirator, if you like. Over to you, Jen.
Yes, indeed. And I actually met Anna probably about 6 years ago together in a virtual team. So we've had a lot of virtual team experience together. And this past year, I had the pleasure to meet some of you as I started doing some facilitation work with Anna and People Mastery. So excited to be here today.
Yes, and we have behind the scenes, and she might pop out from behind the scenes shortly, the wonderful Kirsty. And Kirsty, I said she's like the Tony Jones of People Mastery today, so she's going to be handling like the question and answers as we get a little bit further through our session today. So let's get into today's topic. So of course, for us, the most important thing is about connection, and especially when you are now physically isolated. So how can we use connection to overcome maybe some of those sensations of isolation that you might be feeling? And as Jennifer said, you know, I've been working in a virtual team for quite a long time now, 7 years. And I have to say, and hopefully this is good news for you guys, that when I worked in my first virtual team which was a company called Leva Learning, I have to say it felt better than any of the face-to-face teams I'd ever been in. So that is a possibility for you. Okay, you're gonna love it. Okay, let's make the best of it. And I think what we're going to do is just kind of plant a couple of seeds with you. So one of the things that we know is that in terms of your mental health in this situation can be quite challenging. And the really good news and the great opportunity is that as a manager and a leader, you can be accountable for 1/3 of someone's mental health, right? So when everything else is going to hell in a handbasket, you are that really steady ship that can hopefully make 1/3 of a difference to a person in terms of how they're feeling. Okay, so that's good news. We see that as a wonderful opportunity. So we're going to jump into, you know, a couple of things that you can do as a leader, because if you're going to connect with people, it's really about how do you be present, like to yourself and therefore to others. So I'm going to switch over to Jennifer and she's going to take you through a little bit of that.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I think, you know, Anna and I were reflecting, and I think in times like this, when there's so much disruption and uncertainty, for leaders, what's really important to remember is that leaders have to lead themselves for the sake of leading others. So it's really important to check in with yourself every day and really have a think about how you're leading yourself. And one aspect of leading self is managing mood. As my mentor, Richard Strozzi Heckler, said, if your mood is off, everything circles the drain. So it's really the tone you set by your example to the team. So self-awareness in these times is so important, and especially when everything's fluidly changing so much. So what we want to recommend is having a check-in with yourself several times a day, where where you just check in, how present am I? How open, how connected to myself and others am I in this moment? And you might check in, you know, how am I feeling? What are my automatic thoughts that might be useful or not useful? And how do I shift those? So checking in regularly is really important. And that way you can check in too, like, am I being the leader that I say I want to be of best service to my team? And if not, if you find you're not, there's a really big opportunity there. That's the good news, to get present and centered. And so we're going to do a little centering practice, actually, so that you have the opportunity to practice this. Really, we're going to do like the turbocharged version, but just like Anna said, to plant some seeds so that you can take that out with you and use it if it's useful to you. So if you find yourself, because I think all of us will probably find ourselves having some continuum of emotion throughout the day that could change a lot. So if you're finding yourself a little bit spun out or not very present, one of the quickest ways to get present is to tune into the sensation that you feel in your body and to use your five senses, actually. So if you just for a moment, on a scale of 0 to 10, think, where am I on that scale in terms of feeling really present, open, connected to myself, connected to others, and just note that for yourself. And now sit back in your chair, take a nice deep breath, and using the five senses, starting with our eyes and our vision, just look around you, and what are two things you actually see that you can actually look at and see, and notice those. And just note that to yourself. And then moving to hearing, what are two things in your environment that you hear right now? I just heard a bird call, and I hear the hum of the computer. What are two things that you can actually touch? It might be touching your fingers together. It might be touching your desk. It might be feeling your feet on the floor. Notice that. And then notice, is there a taste in your mouth? And is there anything you can smell? And by using our five senses, we kind of anchor back into being present. So that's just a little life hack for when things get a little bit out of hand. And again, I just want to reiterate, really consider, how are you leading yourself so you can be the best leader for others?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now, such a good practice.
Yes. That's right. And time flies. Sorry, that's really turbocharged. Back to you, Anna.
That's okay. Thank you. Back to the Kuma office. So I'm conscious of the time. Oh my God, it's 10 minutes already. One last thing I want to leave you with about connecting with your teams is actually, now that you've got yourself present through Jennifer's wonderful practice, asking them very simply, how are you? And not in the normal Australian way we go, how are you? How are you? Done and move on. Not that way. How are you really? And listening to how they're feeling. And any feeling is okay right now. There's probably 5,000 emotions a day. And then asking the question, how would you like to connect? So now we're in this virtual environment. How would you like to connect with me as a leader? There's my buzzer, boom. How would you like to connect with me as your leader and with the team? So think about how they might want to do that. And the last one is, how can you actually have those touch points with your team and build that sense of community in the team, even though you're physically isolated? So one thing I would suggest, really easy to do, have a daily check-in. Literally, 5 minutes. How's everybody doing? What's the one thing they're focused on today? Friends at MI, you're already doing this stuff, you know this. But that's a really simple way that you can connect in with your team. So find out how people want to connect with you individually as you as the leader, and find how they want to connect with the team, and then establish that as a rhythm for the team so that you can create some normal inside this unstable environment that we're in. Mm. Appreciate that some of you might have to go because we're on the wire. Here's Tony Jones. If you do have some questions, very happy for you to just quickly type them in the chat box. And if you're happy to stay with us for another couple of minutes, we're happy to answer your questions. Over to you guys. What have you got for us?
We haven't had any questions come in just yet, Anna, but we'll see if anyone has some coming in now.
I was going to piggyback on what Anna said while we're seeing if anybody has any questions. I was reading about a really cool sounding CEO who has initiated having virtual lunch breaks together because they're having to all work at home. And so they're having a virtual lunch break that's about non-work related things. So, here's my kid, here's my pet, here's where my home office is now set up. So, sharing pictures or sharing video that way, which is another possibility if it works for you.
We don't have any questions
there's one
from the group at this stage.
I can see one right there. Any tips on connecting with the less tech savvy colleagues? What a good question from Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. What do you reckon? Connecting with people that are maybe not so comfortable with the tech. Top tips. What do you reckon, Jennifer? One from you?
I might ask them what they need, how they want to connect, what they need, how I could best serve them, sort of, acknowledging that and seeing what you can brainstorm together.
Yeah, good point. And maybe they are more comfortable on the phone, and if that's the case, that's great. One other thing I'll just say with the Zoom tech is that it's as simple as opening your email and clicking on the link. So if they are tech challenged, that can be a good way of doing it. Kirsty, you're a real tech guru. Any other tips from you on that one?
And I had some tech issues this morning, so I might not be the best person to ask right now. But I'd say probably just, give people some time to get their heads around doing things in such a different way. It's just going to take some time and take the pressure off and give people options.
Great.
As much as you can.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, I think slowing down right now is actually what's going to give the best boost forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So guys, conscious of your time and always like to deliver on my promises, and I'm already over. So just really invite you, hopefully you found it useful. If you want to drop us a line, anna@peoplemastery.com, and let me know what would be really valuable for you in the next session. We have a ton of stuff that we're going to run anyway, but if there's something that's top of mind, please do drop us a line. We're really happy to deal with that next time. Okay, everybody, have an awesome day and find that advantage. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.